Hey, what's going on, people? It's the Black Rose here, and today I'm going to review Only Murders in the Building Season 5. So, first off, elephant in the room. Yeah, my prediction was wrong. Yeah, in case you're not caught up, I did a pretty bold prediction. I very confidently said, I bet Howard's the killer, and I laid out all this evidence for it, and I was wrong. Yes. Yeah, I got, like, pretty much none of that right. So, sorry. It happens. Something I've learned with doing fan theory. Like sometimes, even when everything adds up so perfectly, you're still wrong, and it's often just because of traps. Like writers will leave a little trap for you, which is what I think happened to me here. I think I fell for a trap. So, yep, that's what's up. And the curse of that is that I almost always like what I can't come up with, for any given thing. I almost always like what I predict better than what I actually get, from the show. So, yeah, luckily I am trying to become a screenwriter. I'm looking to join that side of the industry. So, I guess I'll have a chance to make, to make good content from my point of view there. So, yeah, I absolutely would have preferred Howard as the killer over Mayor Tillman. It's yeah, like we'll get into all of it, but yeah, like imagine how awesome it would have been if I had gotten that right. Like the internet would be blowing up. Like this dude, yeah, I called this like seemingly so unlikely murderer, but instead it was one of the four, like literally just four obvious suspects. Like it's lame. It is. I don't know what else to say. Like that's been a big consensus from a lot of reviews I've been seeing out there. Is like it. This one was kind of lame. Not only were there a lot of flaws with this season, with the story, all the plot. It just wasn't satisfying in the end because nothing surprised us about it. It was one of the obvious suspects who honestly, most of us didn't think to suspect precisely because, like, it's so obvious. Like, yeah, like, freaking, Key playing the mayor. Like, you know, he shows up pretty frequently, and he's not one of the billionaires. So he's kind of this, this standout thing. And yeah, like, one of the better performances, too. Key's good, but yeah. And well, that's what I got. That's my introduction. I would have much preferred what I predicted as opposed to what we got. It was just so hard to predict, yet also so unexciting. Like, yeah. So let's get into some story. So I did really like the casino theme for this season. It added this, unique aesthetic to this particular season that was fitting for the show. I loved all the promotional artwork around it. Loved the Velvet Room. It was nice. It was a nice new thing to do with the show that kept it fresh. Didn't feel outlandish, and it was a plot that I was interested in. Who wants to build this casino? I also really loved the return to Arconia secrets. Like, part of what I really liked about the earlier seasons is, all those secret passageways and, secrets throughout the building. Yeah, that made it really, really neat to watch. And, wondering, like, could that be something? Could that be a secret lever? Like that kind of stuff. And I do wish we had gotten some more of it. Like, something I had plugged in the predictions video was I was thinking that Lester's elevator crank was going to be for a secret elevator somewhere that was still crank operated. And yeah, I would have loved to see something like that. But nope, didn't get it. But when it comes to the particular plot points, it was a mess, man. Like, this sucked. Like, so first, like, how all the clues came together in the end was just kind of weak. Like, like was saying, it was hard to predict. Like, the key to a good murder mystery is it needs to be gettable. But this really just wasn't. Like, like, too many things were just so random and so unpredictable that just wasn't satisfying in the end. It seems like maybe they originally were thinking Sophia's gonna be like some sort of mastermind for her own agenda, but it's so unclear what her endgame is. Like, and it, like, you know, like it's always flipping back and forth between like what side she's on. Like, yeah, like maybe it makes sense to people in the writers' room who know like what got cut, what the plan was, but not to us who didn't see any of that. Also, something I saw Ivan Montero point out. He's a great content creator. Go check him out. So, if Sophia didn't want the affair slash like who killed her husband to get out, then why would she give those cards to Charles in the first place? Like what is she trying to achieve with that? Like she's giving him a clue that'll lead him to the Velvet Room, but why? Like what? How does that serve her endgame? Like what is her endgame? Like yeah, like it's a mess, man. What is this? Now let's talk about the finger. So, like the whole premise of the season was that this finger was power. That this controls the casino bid. And yeah, and they went for like a blackmail kind of thing. The finger was incriminating. But like thinking about it, like, well, what does the finger prove exactly? Like they cleaned the Velvet Room. You know, there was no trace of, you know, of the crime in there. Sure, on the finger, you know, there's the felt under the nail, but well, what does that prove exactly? Like it's the mayor's finger. It's got that felt. Like, if anything, it proves that he was in the Velvet Room at some point, but like it doesn't tie him to anything illegal. Like it's not conclusive evidence that he was involved, you know, with all the underground card games. These billionaires are laundering him money to serve their own purposes. It doesn't implicate any of that. So yeah, like it was just weak. Like this finger doesn't have power. Like sure, like Matt and Jess TV, that's a fantastic podcast you should check out. And they were talking about how this upcoming election does add a timing stake to it, because something, you know, like something like that getting out close to an election can often affect the result. But like that's weak. It's an all right explanation, but it's just weak in the end. Like because what does it prove? Like it proves nothing. Like yeah, and yeah, like it requires a bit too much thought to be like, oh, it's like that could affect his campaign. Like, well, how? Like, how exactly? You know, like who's gonna care that much about this loose idea that this finger could be, you know, could be something like yeah, it just seems weak to me. And Nikki's death was, you know, impossible to call right, man. Like who could have guessed that Nikki, you know, ate the paper that wasn't placed in his mouth? He freaking ate it. Then Lester accidentally killed him. Like, come on, man. Like it either needs way more clues, or otherwise, like, no one's getting that. Like, and that takes the fun out of the murder mystery experience. Like, it needs to be gettable, or else it's not fun and not satisfying in the end. Right, and also Sophia's affair with Mayor Tillman, it was just underdone. Like the whole, like an affair that needs to have like there needs to be a clear motivation behind it. Either someone's getting something out of it, you know, it is genuine love. Like yeah, it was just underdone. We needed more explanation there as to how that started, what it was about. You know, what each of them are getting out of it. Like, does Tillman like Sophia? Is he getting some sort of mob thing out of it? I don't know. Yeah, like we needed more of an explanation there. Yeah, we got Sophia, you know, this pointless scene with Sophia at the very end that, you know, like she's in Italy and we're meant to care about the, you know, what's going on with this character that we're probably never going to see again. But, yeah, it's just pointless. What's that scene doing in there, man? Now let's get into characters and performances. So main cast, funny as always. You can never go wrong with Steve Martin Short. You know, Steve Martin Short. You know, what we'll call it there. Yeah, classic, hilarious actors right there. And they, yeah, kept the season light. Kept the set entertained. And, yeah, love those guys. And Yeah, I'm always curious about how Selena Gomez ended up in the trio. Like how'd that come together behind the scenes? With how Hoffman put this together, but yeah, yeah, it works. It really doesn't stand out as strange that she's so much younger than they are. They have a chemistry. They figured it out. It's what professionals do. Yeah, so yep, and she was great as well. She does kind of tend to be like the straight of the straight man of the group would be the classic term for it, but she has her moments. Yeah, she's a talented actor. Yeah. So, yeah, like Selena Gomez, and of course this season we also had Keegan Michael Key. So, he is a fantastic actor. I thoroughly enjoy him in everything he's in. He can be funny. He can just be your dramatic guy. He's a really talented actor. It's one of the things I've kind of picked up on through being a professional critic is it's a lot easier to tell the difference between good acting and bad acting than it used to be for me. Right. And yeah, Key is a fantastic actor. Yeah, was watching High Potential. It's another show I watch last night, and yeah, I remember like season 1, like it stood out to me just how much worse the other actors surrounding Caitlin Olsen were. Man, they bring it down. Like, she is fantastic, but these surrounding actors are not nearly as good. But they picked it up this season. They're I guess they got some better acting coaches in there. They're better than they were, but there's this new character that stinks. Like, yeah, I've got to find a way to get more consistent with those performances of that show. And I did like the billionaires as characters. I think they did add this new flair to the show that we hadn't really seen before, and didn't really, it was fitting. It didn't stand out as strange. So, yeah, and the performances were fine. I wouldn't say those actors blew me away, but yeah, they were fine. And let's see. So, yeah, there is kind of, I don't want to say a casting problem, but there's something that stood out as odd to me. Let me just break it down. So the second episode with the flashback, we get young Lester played by Amori Cohen. So that performance was fine. I was totally, not blown away, but yeah, I think he did a decent job portraying Lester, or a young Lester. But the problem with that is that there were, the main cast was in that playing younger versions of themselves, just de-aged or sometimes even just in makeup. So the problem that created is there's only so much you can do with de-aging, especially when you're used to seeing them as their current age. Like, you can't really look at them and be like, oh, like that's a younger Howard, a younger Charles, Oliver. Like, it's like, what they look like. It doesn't work as well as, just a different casting. So the problem this created is Lester kind of, he goes from looking, 30 to 40, from looking, 80, while the other actors, they don't change that much. They, you get what they're going for, but like most of the time you're thinking, all right, maybe it's 20 years ago, but recasting Lester kind of created this problem with how everyone looks in terms of the timeline. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just kind of a casting problem. But yeah, fine performances though. So really, this season's downfall was the pacing. It took way too long for, strong theories to form. They even made fun of it in the finale. That mover said, it looks like you got all questions, no answers. That's the fun of the murder mystery, is, trying to piece together, what's true, what's not, who did it. And we didn't get that this season. The way it was paced made it so we couldn't do that. It just took the fun out of it. Yeah, that sucked. And yeah, all the stories kind of just became this mess. This big old hot mess. Right. And there were also some individual stories in there that just were pointless. like Charles taking testosterone, Mabel's history with thee, and Oliver having difficulties with moving. Like, none of that actually added anything to the show. So, what's it doing in there? Like, why are we not spending that time, on clues, on theories? Like, yeah, I feel like it's, like, if you're not adding something to the show, then it should not be in there. Like, everyone, loves the, character growth these days. Blah, blah, blah. Good characters. Characters gotta grow. But, we need plot. We need plot. You can't, if you're gonna just do this, for no purpose, then it shouldn't be there. Right. And let's see. And generally, there's just too few suspects. We were spending so much time on the billionaires that other seasons have done a good job of spending just enough time on everyone else to keep us guessing. But we were spending so much time on the billionaires in this season that was like, okay, so there's something with these people that we're meant to be trying to diagnose, but like I said before, it wasn't diagnosable. So yeah, did not like the pacing. Right, and yeah, part of why I kind of honed in on Howard, but before the finale, is I was wondering if that was part of it, because not only were we seeing a lot less of Howard, but also he was just different. He was given this different vibe, acknowledging he's tired of being rejected by the trio. He's doing his own thing, living his grand old life with the robot and whatnot. So I was wondering if noticing this change in Howard was part of what they were going for. But turns out no. Yeah, this was not a good, not a well-paced season. So let's conclude. So we still don't know who's been watching the trio since season 1. An idea they plugged in season 4, when those actors were trying to do the murder board, was that there were these questions that never got answered in season 1. See, Oliver's dog who poisoned Winnie, and those notes. Some of those notes couldn't have been written by who they thought wrote them. So yeah, we have those loose ends never got tied up. So yeah, they kind of plugged this idea that someone's been watching the trio since the first season, some sort of overarching big bad of the show. And we didn't get an answer here. I kind of thought it was going to be Nikki, but no. As it turns out, we're continuing beyond season 5, who knows how long. So, yep, we still have that question. Matt and Jess TV, who podcast I've talked about already, they picked up on something big that I think they're right about. So, at the end of the finale, it sort of gets plugged that when Howard's new boyfriend, the mafia, I don't remember which brother it was, one of those guys comes in with a gardenia flower. They mention that gardenias are poisonous to animals. So Matt and Jess were saying maybe that's how Winnie's dog got poisoned. And I think they're going to be right about that. That was a very clever catch by them. Yeah, that's probably what they're going for here. My guess is that there are clues for who this overarching big bad is in every season, and we just have only picked up on a few. So yeah, might be worth a rewatch. But yeah, I think Matt and Jess are right on the money here. It's going to be how the dog was poisoned. They also talked about how they think maybe Howard is the big bad. So that's interesting because, I thought Howard was going to be the murderer this season. So they also suspect Howard could be up to something. That's interesting. I did actually reach out to them about the last episode, but they never got back to me. And that's all right. I know from my main channel, my bigger platform, you just can't respond to it all. Just that's what's up. You can't. So, yep. Maybe I'll meet Matt and Jess one day. Maybe not. And so, let's think for a second. What could Howard's Could he have some sort of secret? What could that be? Well, we saw his mom in flashbacks, but who's his dad? Do we actually know who Howard's father is? So another thing I was wondering after the last episode had aired, I had some additional ideas, from from episode 8, I guess. I was wondering, could Nikki be Howard's dad? Because Sophia plugs that he was always, having these affairs. He was always out with women. So, yeah, it occurred to me like maybe he's somehow Howard's father, and Howard's trying to cover up that he has mafia heritage. So, yeah, I guess it's possible. Like I was talking about the casting earlier, it's kind of hard to pinpoint how old Howard was. It's in the flashback. So yeah, I guess we're not really sure. And I guess Nikki would have had to have been pretty young. He didn't age that much from flashback to present. So yeah, if he is Howard's father, he would have had Howard, pretty young, as a teenager probably, which could be. I mean, that happens. So yeah, I guess we'll find out in future seasons. Is Howard up to something? Alright, so those are my thoughts on Only Murders Season 5. I was disappointed, and I'm bummed that my first few reviews on this platform have been bad ones. I don't want to, get a reputation as this negative Nancy. So, yeah, hopefully the next one will be good. I'm guessing that the next show I'm gonna do, predictions and a review for is gonna be Stranger Things Season 5. And man, that release date's coming up, isn't it? Gotta get watching those trailers. But yeah, and the rate this season is 6. Honestly, it's like I was let down by this. Pick up. And like I mentioned, I am hoping to become a screenwriter soon. So yeah, I guess maybe I'll start putting my criticism into action eventually. But yeah, I gotta get my scripts ready to enter in some contests, see if I can make it work. Yeah, I also want to do some content like I did that list, like sitcoms, but yeah, back in, I guess it was winter. Yeah, that was a while ago now. So I want to do more content like that. And yeah, an idea that I've always had for videos is I want to do plots for existing shows that what I would write if I was a writer for that show, in shows that old ones, things that the ideas of mine that I like better than what we actually got, like I was talking about in the beginning, about my predictions I usually like better than what we get. But yeah, and I actually have one for King of the Hill, the King of the Hill reboot. I have a fantastic idea for how they could bring Luann's character back. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that out soon. I don't know, but yeah, this is a platform I'm trying to get going, but there's never enough time, man. All right, well, yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching me on YouTube, thanks for listening. If you're listening on the podcast platform, and I will see you next time. Peace.